Eric Leach has just finished reading that judgment in the case between the state and Pistorius. Now, he poked holes in the High Court Judge Thokozile Masipa's verdict and found that the trial incorrectly applied the principle of dolus eventualis, which deals with indirect intention to kill. Justice Leach also said that Judge Masipa didn't take into account relevant circumstantial evidence, but he congratulated her on a fantastic trial. But now let's cross back to the Supreme Court of Appeal in Bloemfontein to our reporter on the ground there, Griselda Lewis. Griselda, a very good morning to you.
Well, a very good afternoon to you, Elvis.
What is the latest that just came out of there? I've just read some of the startling evidence there, or the Pistorius culpable homicide conviction. It has been overturned by Justice Leach. Give us an update.
Well, seriously, what has taken place in this court here this morning is certainly groundbreaking, in that the culpable homicide conviction of Oscar Pistorius, as you've heard, has been overturned. He's been found guilty of murder. Certainly what will happen now is that this matter will be referred to the High Court in Pretoria, where there will be sentencing arguments in aggravation of sentence as well, to determine what a sentence Oscar Pistorius should receive. But a serious indictment on the initial finding by Judge Thokozile Masipa, certainly saying that she did not correctly apply the facts to the law, and that she ignored crucial evidence. You'd recall that was one of the main facts that the state had put across, saying that Judge Thokozile Masipa had ignored some of the crucial evidence, including the testimony of ballistics expert Chris Mangena. You would recall during the trial he gave quite a detailed account of where Oscar Pistorius was standing at the time that he fired those shots, saying that Oscar Pistorius did not act rationally. And on the issue of dolus eventualis, which was really clarified in this instance, whether Oscar Pistorius could have foreseen that he would shoot and kill someone, Justice Leach essentially said that it was not the issue of whether somebody, whether Reeva Steenkamp was behind that door, but Oscar Pistorius should have foreseen that when he fired those 4 shots through the bathroom door, he would have known that he would have killed someone. The issue was not whether it was Reeva Steenkamp. So certainly the issue of dolus eventualis, the clarification thereof, a serious indictment again on Judge Thokozile Masipa, that she incorrectly applied the principle of dolus eventualis. So essentially Oscar Pistorius, knowing that when he fired those 4 shots through the door, he would have killed someone. The crucial evidence also that was ignored, according to Justice Leach, says that cannot be ignored. The fact that some of the crucial evidence in this case was not taken into account is a serious indictment on the way that the trial court had conducted those proceedings. I'm going to chat a little bit more now to our criminal law expert here, Estienne Ferreira, who's been with us throughout the morning. Estienne, a serious indictment on the verdict that was handed down by the High Court in Pretoria.
Exactly that's what you're saying. What happened here today is, irrespectively of what the sentence is going to be now, it's just saying that she didn't follow the law principle at all. She took a route. If we want to say that she didn't do her job, it's not fair to say that. She took the direct route through the middle, saying, listen, I'm going to give him a sentence. If I don't send him to jail, people's going to be unhappy. If I send him to jail, other people's going to be unhappy. So take the route down the middle, send him to jail, let him sit a few months, and let him come out. Her job is done.
One of the crucial aspects is, as well, what Justice Leach said, that they couldn't ignore that Oscar Pistorius had changed his version several times. You know, quite scathing, Justice Leach saying you cannot even say at this point exactly what Oscar Pistorius' version was. Quite an indictment on that part as well, that Judge Thokozile Masipa seemed to have chosen a version for Oscar Pistorius.
I won't go so far as to say she's chosen a verdict for him, a version for him. He contradicted himself throughout his statements, and that is why Justice Leach also said that he was not a credible witness. And what Judge Masipa then chose to believe is a version that she thought was the right version from all the versions she gathered from him, and that's the version that she took.
On the aspect as well of the ballistics expert Chris Mangena, when he described where Oscar Pistorius was standing, what position he was standing in, the fact that a crucial evidence, that crucial testimony had been ignored.
That's inexcusable. I mean, if you look at the entry level of the shots that he fired, it wasn't directed to scare somebody. It wasn't directed on the floor or to the ceiling. It was in the middle of the door. So to ignore a fact like that is such a crucial part of the evidence is inexcusable.
With regard to what happens next, obviously we've heard inside court that the matter will be referred to the High Court again. Sentencing arguments will certainly get underway. What are the possibilities here? Take a toss.
Well, in my opinion, he'll stay on parole. He won't be incarcerated as of yet. He'll wait for his sentence. But if we look at the possible sentence for him now, I'd go for a minimum of 15 years.
Also described as a tragedy of Shakespearean proportions. The media interest and all of that is one of the issues that Justice Leach had alluded to. But in terms of the law going forward, the clarification on the issue of dolus eventualis, it's quite clear now that Judge Thokozile Masipa did not interpret the law correctly. The principle of dolus eventualis was not applied correctly as well. Speaking to that aspect and the fact that Oscar Pistorius, according to this court, foresaw that he would shoot and kill someone behind the door. Just a clarification on that.
Well, firstly, it was an excellent judgment by Justice Leach. He read that there can be no discrepancies about what is dolus eventualis now. He gave a clear indication of what it is. Oscar Pistorius knew exactly what he was doing, what he was shooting. Like you said, there is no reason. You cannot say he didn't want to shoot Reva behind the door. That doesn't matter.
Quite interestingly, the analogy also with the bomber does not need to know the identity of
the people that he's going to kill. Yeah. He doesn't have to know the identity of the person behind the door. He must just foresee that there is somebody behind the door and the possibility of him shooting through the door, that he would injure or kill a person behind that door.
Right, thank you very much for always there for your insight. Let's get some more reaction here as well from the ANC Women's League, who've been with this case since the very beginning. Mama, thank you very much for your time this morning. Certainly, your reaction to today's judgment?
We are so happy as the Women's League, overwhelmed, excited, and we are satisfied with the outcome of the court today, that the culpable homicide now will be changed to murder. And I think that's what also the family of Reva Steenkamp was expecting. And we stood by the family, and we also want to thank the women of South Africa, ordinary women out there who were with us all the time, to make sure that we really make the noise that Oscar Pistorius failed to hear on the day when he shot Reva. Now, we made that noise as the Women's League, and we will continue making it up until the last day when he is sentenced. And we also want to say the abuse of women and children will not be accepted, because in this instance, this was an abuse. When you check on the track record on the relationship of Reva Steenkamp and Pistorius, you can see that the poor girl was being abused continuously, and it ended up taking his life. And we are saying today, no to abuse of women, and we are saying let the killing of women be stopped. And we also want to say to the justice system, this should be a learning curve for our magistrate, our judges, that they shouldn't take sides. They must consider the merits of the case and correct.
Are you saying that Judge Thokozile Masipa took sides?
No, she took sides. She took the side of Oscar Pistorius, and we don't know why. And that has been always the complaint that we put forward, to say we have a problem on how the issue of this case was being dealt with and the finality of it. And today, justice has been served.
Just fast forward, what would you think is the appropriate sentence in this regard?
The appropriate sentence in this instance, it should be 20 years or life sentence. Because the life of Reva Steenkamp was a precious life. She had a career which was at the peak, which Oscar Pistorius cut it very shortly for her, which the family was also expecting to see something out of her career. So we are saying he should receive a very harsh sentence.
Thank you very much for your time. There's certainly reaction from the ANC Women's League, but what we do know at this stage is that the National Prosecuting Authority will not ask that Oscar Pistorius be incarcerated at this point. We will have to wait, of course, for that sentencing. You'd know that Pistorius has been under a house arrest at his uncle's Waterkloof home. Let's get some more reaction here also as well from Mr. Africa, who's been outside this court, Thokozile Africa, who's been outside this court since we came to Bloemfontein. Let me get your reaction first of all, sir, with regard to the findings in this court.
Griselda, I'm very much disappointed in this regard because we were hoping that Justice Leach will definitely give Oscar a break. Since we have been talking about the same issue of hands off Oscar Pistorius, but now it doesn't go according to our wishes. It goes according to the justice system of South Africa, and we respect that. For the fact that Oscar is a human being, we definitely think that it's very much unfair on him for the matter to be resentencing. So it's definitely hurting. I think wherever he is, his emotions are very much higher right now. He feels that he can even not watch the news and all that. It's very much painful, especially if you know the jail. If you don't know the jail, then you can sing like a bird, wishing whoever to go to jail.
But if you do the crime, you've got to do the time.
Hence, we are saying that we respect the justice system of South Africa in terms of the decision that Judge Leach have just read. Right now, we are not saying whoever that is doing criminal activities must never go to jail. What we are saying is people must be given a second chance, really, because now if you can just check, from the trial itself, I think many people think that.
But I guess many would argue also that if you give Oscar Pistorius a second chance, of course following the findings of this court, everybody else deserves a chance. Anybody else who is found guilty of murder deserves a chance.
Hence, Oscar Pistorius said, Griselda, that he was never intending to kill anybody else.
But this court found otherwise.
Yes, that is how the justice system it is. There is nothing that we can contest about, even if we can launch our own opinions and so forth. But it's a tough luck that we can't just change everything.
Well, we certainly do rely on the findings of every single court. Thank you very much for your time there. Thokozile Africa has been outside this court showing support for Oscar Pistorius. Not much reaction from Reva Steenkamp's mother. When I did speak to her a bit early on before the proceedings got underway this morning, all she could say was God knows, and a sigh of relief, I must say, but also very difficult probably for the Steenkamp family in that finally this, for them, they believe that the overturning of the culpable homicide conviction to murder is something that they wanted. They wanted a harsher sentence, a harsher conviction for Oscar Pistorius. Certainly that is what has happened in this case. Many now saying that they're relying on what the High Court will find and what sentence Oscar Pistorius will receive. But that's about the reaction that we're getting outside of this court at the moment. We'll certainly want to hear from the National Prosecuting Authority. There's not a representative from the NPA here today, but there might be quite a sense of relief on the part of the National Prosecuting Authority, because they consistently argued that they felt that the sentence itself was lenient and that Oscar Pistorius should have from the very onset been found guilty of murder. They've been clearly stating that Oscar Pistorius could foresee what he was doing when he fired those 4 shots through that bathroom door, and certainly that's what the Supreme Court of Appeal has ruled today, that Oscar Pistorius, irrespective of who was behind that door, could have foreseen that he would have shot and killed someone.
Thank you, Griselda. That's Griselda Lewis live from Bloemfontein, and we ask you the question, should Oscar Pistorius go back to jail? But the question has been answered really by the judge in terms of taking that sentence and converting that to murder. So what do you make of that sentence? That is our new question to you. What do you make of the verdict imposed on Oscar Pistorius?